You know how negative thoughts feed off of each other? It's almost as if the one carries into another, which carries into another, and you find yourself in this deep spiral of negative thoughts, so much so that you end up becoming a victim of them. But lucky for Hello. Hello, beautiful conscious creators. I hope that you have started your day with nothing short of health, wealth, peace, love, and light. As we explore healing and conscious creation together in this space, I hope that you remember to be kind and patient with yourself and your thoughts. My name is King and I'm your accidental therapist. So today, actually a couple of days ago, I woke up with this worry and frustration about a circumstance that I happen to find myself in, right? And this circumstance has to do with one of my family members, one of like my strongest soldier, not being in the best health. And this worry and frustration caused me to spiral and become a victim of my own thoughts. Because you know, with the people that you care about the most, you always want to make sure that they are in the best health before you can move away. You always want to make sure that you are present for them in those moments. And so the reason why I became a victim of my own thoughts is because I'm trying to establish my career now. I'm a new graduate, and I've set my desires on moving to certain areas in the world, but moving and being afraid of the move, being afraid to take that step, is also like the factor that contributes to that is the fact that I want to see this individual fully themselves, fully being back to the strength that I've always known and seen in them. And so I woke up with this worry and frustration. It was just not something that I do on a regular basis. I usually wake up and I'm smiling and I'm laughing. No, that's a lie. I wake up and I say a few affirmations, and I do end up thinking about something that maybe I desire to see in the world, a certain manifestation that I want to unfold, right? So that's usually how I wake up. But because I'm human, I do have my days where I wake up and I'm like, oh, today is just terrible. It's just very, very terrible. But that spiral that I found myself in, the worry and the frustration, it made me fall prey to negative thoughts. And you know how negative thoughts feed off of each other? It's almost as if the one carries into another, which carries into another, and you find yourself in this deep spiral of negative thoughts, so much so that you end up becoming a victim of them. But lucky for me, it's too early in the morning, and I have the habit of waking up with thinking positive things and positive affirmations. So I lost it in that spiral for a few minutes until it got to the point where I started questioning the fairness of the circumstance. And mind you, the frustration comes from the fact that I was sharing some advice on how she could help herself out with like drinking water and stuff, and she wasn't really taking it, which it's weird to have felt frustration over something like that. It is really strange to have such an agitated feeling about that. But I guess it stems from the fact that, like, you know, when you want to see the best for someone and maybe they are themselves not strong enough to handle all of this input that you're giving them, because they're also in their own world and they're trying to get to the other side, because no one wants to stay in that position where they are unwell, right? And so this is where this frustration stemmed from. And basically towards the end of the spiral, what actually ended up making me say, okay, no, I have to stop in this moment and actually I really just have to stop, take a break, and rewire my thinking. What ended up happening was that I started questioning the whys of why this was happening, and questioning the fairness of it. And when I start questioning all of those things, I realized in that moment that, hey, babes, you are becoming a victim of your thoughts. And this is not going to help you or the next person in any way, shape, or form. Because what will end up happening is you'll take out your frustration on this person who needs you in this moment to be strong for them, right? So I did stop in that moment, and I did a bit of like a teaspoon prayer. And I mean, I don't want to explain how I go into like prayer and stuff, because my perspective on prayer is a little bit different. But I did like the normal teaspoon prayer, as we know, which is like saying thank you, which is saying sorry to myself, asking for forgiveness for like, why am I thinking all of these negative thoughts that are very much unrelated, but somehow have found a way to latch on to this one small frustration or this one small worry that I have as I was waking up. So I had to ask for myself for forgiveness and ask God for forgiveness and say, look, hey buddy, I don't want to find myself in this space. Forgive my heart, forgive myself, forgive the space that I'm in, and say it's okay, it is what it is, but now how do I see it, right? How do I choose to change my perspective and see it differently? And that's what sort of helped me out of the spiral, when I noticed that I was sort of finding myself going deeper and deeper into something that it's not normal for me and anymore at this stage of the game. And so I just want to share a few of the steps that I took, so that for someone who finds himself becoming a victim of their thoughts from a small circumstance, it doesn't always necessarily have to be small, from certain circumstances that you don't always have to I don't want to keep saying the word spiral, but I'm going to say it. So certain circumstances that you don't always have to spiral in. I just wanted to share a few of the steps that I took in order to get myself out and move into a space where I was being the solution instead of being a victim of the circumstance that I found myself in. And then the next step was that I asked myself where this frustration actually stemmed from, why it was so agitating for me, what maybe I could have possibly dreamt about something that I'm not aware of, or is it something that's deeply rooted in a worry that I was not aware that I even had, and I started to ask myself to find the root, because your body will naturally tell you and move you into a space where when you think about something, you start to I don't know if how connected you are to your body, but it will tell you when you tense up a bit and you know that, oh, there's something there's something behind this tension that I'm feeling when I think about a certain thought, right? So you ask your body, and you don't always get an immediate answer or an immediate reaction. It takes a bit of time to get to a space where you are able to listen to your body to the point where it's an immediate response. Like for me, sometimes it's immediate, sometimes it takes me about a day or a few days to say, this is what a certain situation is actually rooted in. And then the next step that I took was I asked myself, how can I allow myself to shift from a space where I'm feeling this worry and frustration to becoming a solution to this situation, or the whatever surface level issue the frustration is coming from. So on a surface level, like I said, what it looked like, it looked like it stemmed from the fact that she wasn't drinking or consuming enough water to help her, based on what I'd shared in terms of the things that could potentially help her get into a better place and get into a better space. That's the surface level of it. But what it was actually rooted in is the fact that it's this feeling of limitation, feeling like my hands are tied based on the limitation, like limiting factors such as resources, and not this inability at that moment in time to not see how to be the best solution apart from being a good support system. And not only that, but it was also the conflict in wanting to start off my career, as I'd mentioned, but also being conflicted about the fact that I want to be here in this space and help her get back to the best health that she can possibly have, because she's mentally strong. Like, she's one of the most mentally strong people that I've ever come across. It's just, age and all of that stuff. It comes with certain ailments that one can certainly recover from. It's just, in the moment, in that moment in time, it's not easy to see the other side while it is happening. But the nice thing about it, right, the point that I'm trying to highlight about this episode, and feeling a sense of frustration that can take place about certain things that are certainly out of your control and things that do worry you. What I'm trying to highlight, the point that I'm trying to get across right now, is that by looking at this frustration for what it is and saying, okay, how can I shift? How can I look at it in a different way? Can help you get out of a spiral and move you into a space where you're walking towards something, where you're walking towards the solution or the goal, or even if it's a frustration that doesn't require a solution, you can certainly do your best to look at it from a different perspective. And why I say this also, it took me a moment to realize this, that right now, while all of this is taking place, it's actually an opportunity for me to be at home. And I didn't see it as an opportunity at first, but it definitely is an opportunity, because I get to be at home and create the things that I've always desired to create. Do you see how quickly things, or how quickly you can shift how you look at things? Because I could have sulked and I could have continued being this victim of my own thoughts by saying, now I'm at home and now, but I want to do this, but I want to do that. And that would not have helped me. But the moment I realized that, hey, you can actually look at this in a different way. Look at all of this, the ample time that you have to work creatively, to keep writing your poetry, to put out the work that you want to put out, to, create all of these videos, to share how you've always wanted to share on this kind of platform. Look at this as that kind of opportunity where you can embrace all of the things that you've always wanted to do without having to answer to someone else. This is a moment. This is where you can take away the opportunity of time that has been presented to you to do the things that you want to do. Just like a complete shift in perspective is really what I'm trying to highlight, the picture that I'm trying to paint. And yes, the story started off with this frustration, the idea of frustration and worry, but the spiral led me into a deeper understanding of where it came from. And the fact that I got to that point of understanding of what it was rooted in, then I could look at it and I was able to now say, okay, this is what it is, and I understand it for what it is, and I'm accepting it for what it is, because I cannot change it right now. It's certainly out of my control. But how can I make the most of it? Again, forgive me for repeating myself, but how can I continue to be the solution in a circumstance, in any circumstance that is not necessarily favorable from the immediate from like an immediate look at it, but can certainly bring about opportunity if I actually find a way or change the way that I'm seeing this situation. Oh, and just to add a fun little nugget piece of information, one of the solutions that I came up with in that moment, I was like, you know what, I'll start putting out a jug of water just to make sure, just to see if I can put measures in place that can help her out, right? And okay, I never ended up doing that. However, having had many conversations with her about like the benefits and her doing her own research, because she's an intelligent lady, I started seeing her carrying around this, like, she has this like red cup type of thing, and it always has water. So yes, it did take a bit of time for her to get to the point where she's being consistent with consuming enough water for herself, but it happened. So that's truly what I'm grateful for, and all of the other things that I got to realize in just that moment of spiraling in worry and frustration. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. My name is Oagang, and I am your accidental therapist.